Hello, and welcome to Tomb Raider, the Dark Angel Symphony Kickstarter launch. I'm Jenny Millward, and I'm here with Peter Connolly, no less, in his studio. Today we're going to be talking a little bit more about the pledge rewards that you can be backing, and we're going to be answering a few of the FAQs that you've been sending in over the last few weeks. So Peter, could you tell us a little bit more about when you first started thinking about doing an album for all of your Tomb Raider music?
I originally started thinking about this probably at the back end of 2014, beginning of 2015. Ever since the advent of social media, you know, I kind of got a lot more connected with some of the fans and some people who really kind of appreciated the music and the works of Tomb Raider. And it wasn't really until then that I kind of thought, you know, there's actually a little bit of a demand going on for this. So at the beginning of 2015, I just wrote on my Facebook page some ideas that I had, you know, regarding the Dark Angel. Obviously, the Dark Angel wasn't a name in the making at the time. It was just an idea I had of re-releasing my original Tomb Raider music, you know, on the Kickstarter platform with several pledges. And quite surprisingly, the post got a lot of reaction. So it was at that point where I just realised, you know, maybe there's something I need to do about this. And here we are, 4 years on, you know, making it happen.
Yeah, here we definitely are. So we've heard a little bit about some of the personnel who are involved, including Dr. Richard Niles. How did he come about as a choice for your orchestrating and arranging?
I've been fascinated with Richard's work for such a long time. I mean, this goes back to the sort of mid to late 80s. There was a track I heard by the Pet Shop Boys. I'm a big Pet Shop Boys fan. Most people who know me will know that. He orchestrated and arranged the music for one of their tracks, which was produced by Trevor Horn, called Left to Mind Devices. And I've always been fascinated with the orchestration and how the orchestra work together and how he articulates, you know, each instrument, the orchestra, how each instrument talks to one another. It's just, to me, it was just a work of genius. You know, it was so perfect. Even 30 years on, I will still listen to it and just feel as good about it as I did about it then. And back then, I mean, obviously I would have been a teenager. I would have been at school, so I would have been 14 or 15. So, you know, it was quite early on, before I even knew a music career was going to happen, that one day I want to work with Richard. It was just thought, if I'm ever going to work with somebody, it's going to be him. And here we are, 30 years on.
Perfect opportunity to bring him on board.
Absolutely, yeah. He was probably the seed that made me, you know, thinking of Richard, if the people that could possibly work on this, it was him that kind of motivated me to move forward with it and get in touch and see what his interests were, you know. So,
well, let's hope we can get funded then. Double cross. Okay, Peter, so picking up on one of the things that you just mentioned, the pledge rewards, are these going to be available outside of the Kickstarter to buy, or are they exclusive to the Kickstarter pledges?
They're going to be totally exclusive to the Kickstarter campaign. Limited editions, so once they're gone, they're gone. No more will be made. So, you know, if you do want them, I suggest you pledge and get them while you can.
Now that we know how much we need to raise, can you explain a little bit behind all that funding and what that money is going to be going towards?
Basically, the funding that we've worked out, I've tried to keep it down to an absolute minimal. But with regards to the orchestra we're using, orchestras don't come cheap. We have to do everything from absolute, you know, ground up. So we all the music has to, you know, needs to be rearranged. It needs to be reorchestrated. That's not going to, you know, that's going to be quite a hefty sum, especially if it's delivered by somebody who's world class. You know, I can't think of anyone else better to do it. So, you know, that will come at a premium. Orchestras are going to cost £60,000 plus. So, you know, they're not cheap. You've got to think about 86 people playing over 2 days at musician union rates. You know, it's not cheap, but they are the world's finest, and they're all handpicked by Isabel Griffiths. So, you know, Isabel Griffiths is someone that Hans Zimmer uses when he tours the UK or Europe. He will go to her. She will handpick the musicians. She's pretty much doing the same job for us. And then we have, you know, I mean, this is pretty much we're not aiming to make a profit out of this. We just want enough funding to be able to make it happen. So we know we need to be able to pay the rangers, the conductors, the orchestrators, the musicians. Obviously we've got Tina and Julie, you know, kind of you know, on board as well, who will make this absolutely such a super special event, and you know, everybody needs to be paid. Studio costs as well don't come cheap. There's a lot of personnel to be paid, and that's going to come at a premium, you know, but it's not going to be silly prices. It's not going to be much more than what people are. I think people are expected to be a lot more than what, you know, similar Kickstarter campaigns were costing, but it's not. It's going to cost a little bit more than that. But that's purely because we haven't, purely as we need to pay for the arranger fees, which were already paid for from previous campaigns.
So now we've heard a little bit of your FAQs answered, let's move on to the pledge rewards. I'm seeing a absolutely gorgeous folder in your hands, Peter. Can you tell us a little bit more about this, because that looks really special?
This folder, luxurious looking folder, which we hand-picked, is going to house all of Murty's notes, which is going to be a limited pledge during the Kickstarter campaign. So, you know, obviously we didn't want to just supply this scrap of paper, that scrap of paper. We want to get everything, you know, presented to the best of our ability and to make it look, you know, luxurious and appealing. So this is what's going to house all of Murty's goodies. All
of his original hand-drawn, handwritten notes for the Angel of Darkness. Moving on to a few more pledge rewards. Can you tell us a little bit more about these items that you have on your desk?
Yeah, these pendants that you see right before me, or right before us rather, all handmade, handcrafted by Jenny herself. Absolutely beautiful pieces of work, which again are going to be limited edition. I think there's only going to be about 50 made
of each
design, yeah. So if you don't pledge for them during the Kickstarter, they'll not be available beyond that. So, you know, pledge. Lots of money.
Oh, that would be nice. So which designs have we got here?
The next one is the iris. I'm good at this, you know. So the next one we have here is the iris. Again, you can see the attention to detail in the paintwork's absolutely spectacular, you know. The next, of course, is the Chiragai.
So, obviously I should point out that this one can't be telekinetically controlled. More's the pity, but hey.
Give it a damn good try, though.
And the last one?
The next one is the Lara Croft Tomb Raider 5 Chronicles Memorial Statuette plaque. Fantastic. I mean, it's true to the original. It just looks as it did in the game. And to be honest, I think there's something there for everyone, if not all for everyone. So, you know, I can imagine these are going to go very, very quick indeed. So, again, pledge while you can.
Okay, so moving on to another type of pledge reward. We've been staring at them on your desk for a little while. Can you tell us a little bit about Lara here?
Can you tell us a little bit about Lara, please?
Well, we don't, unfortunately, have the artist himself in today. Not very comfortable being interviewed, but the results should, I hope, speak for themselves. You'll all recognise this as Lara Croft's memorial statue from Tomb Raider Chronicles. It's been cast in resin, and although this one here is grey, the finished one that people will be receiving if they pledge for it will be painted to have a weathered stone effect, apart from the plaque, which exactly in game will be painted bronze. So you can see, as Peter's holding it, that it's pretty substantial. You know, it's about 9.5 inches to 10 inches tall, which is about 24-25 centimetres. It's quite light. It's not weighed down like it would be if it was made from metal. Please don't throw it around. But yeah, this is the work in progress grey, but the final version will be beautifully painted to look exactly as it does in game, weathered stone and bronze.
To me, the main focus of this was to get it as a replica of the in-game model, and to me it's exact, as close as it could ever get. I think the proportions are all perfect, you know. I think the pose, the hair, the guns, the legs, everything just looks absolutely remarkable, and looks absolutely 100% true to the original.
All of the details are as true to the FMV as they would possibly be if you were moulding them in clay. So yeah.
Cool.
So if we put
Again, limited.
Yeah, extremely limited. So, on all handmade. So, moving on, we're going to have to be quite careful with this little guy because he is still very much a work in progress. But yeah,
That's me told.
here we go. So, I'll hold his Draco for him. I can't imagine that he needs much of an introduction. This is Curtis Trent, and you can probably recognise the pose from the render that was given out for the Angel of Darkness. I'll put his Chirurgate back, actually. As you can see, he is not completely finished yet, but hopefully this will give you an idea of what to expect. Again, the grey colouring is still a work in progress. It will not look like this when it's finished. It will all be cast in resin and painted, beautifully presented and polished.
What we have here is the original Angel of Darkness music, but when we have the Dark Angel music written, we will have as part of the tier of rewards. The original Dark Angel sheet music will be available, and it will be available in a deluxe form. It'll not just be bits of paper like this, it will be in a proper book. It'll look beautiful. It'll be, it'll be something you would expect to buy from a shop. But basically, yeah, the manuscript for Dark Angel will be available in a deluxe booklet, which will cover all the music that's been written for Dark Angel by Richard Niles.
Now we've seen a few of the physical pledge rewards. Let's talk a little bit more about the music pledge rewards, because that's the bit that everybody is the most interested about. What formats will the music be available in?
They'll be available in a variety of formats. There'll obviously be the digital download. There'll be a CD, and I want the CDs to be quite unique and special. So there'll be a deluxe type of CD. We'll have a special case and box for that. Not your standard dual case that most you would probably expect to buy from a normal record store. It sounded so American. Of course, there'll be. Of course, we'll also have this available as vinyl. And I also plan on having the original Tomb Raider 4, 5 and 6 soundtracks remastered, all put into one package, maybe 2 or 3 CDs. Again, deluxe spec. I want this to look plush and exclusive. I don't want it to be your standard dual case again. Also, as was one of the rewards as well, I'm also going to be releasing a DVD in 5:1 of the Angel of Darkness music. I do have the original recordings all in 5:1, which has never ever been commercially released as far as I understand. So I'm going to get a DVD made up with that, and also we'll put some nice fancy graphics to go along with the music. So it's not just a case of sticking it in and whacking at that track. It's going to be professionally presented, good again in a deluxe kind of format. Also, as well, I have 2 Abbey Road CD masters, which is what we got off the studio when we left the studios, and that was used to create all the music that you hear in Angel of Darkness. So every file that was pulled off them CDs is what you hear in Angel of Darkness. They're limited edition. Obviously, there's only 2 of them, so they're going to be part of a pledge tier, along with some other goodies. What we kind of want to do with our pledge awards, anything that's not limited, we want to be cumulative. So if you might just want the download, or you might want the download in the CD, or you might want the download CD in the 5:1 DVD. Then you might want the vinyl as well. So everything's cumulative. It's not a case of, it's not modular in the sense that you pick that and pick this, which you can't do via the Kickstarter campaign. We do want to be able to, whatever people can afford, they'll get. Everything's within reach. So whether it's just a download or whether it's the full spec of goodies, including the sheet music, and then obviously on top of that you've got your limited pledges for likes of these beauties.
Will you be offering posters with these pledge rewards?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and they'll all be signed, will they?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's brilliant. As for people who attend the live recording at Lendhas, obviously the posters are signed by you, but who else will be on hand to sign them?
Anyone who's available to sign them. We could have Tina Gore, Richard Niles.
Will that include a certain Lara Croft model that we've talked about?
Shelley Young, absolutely.
Yeah, cool. Because she originally was at the Abbey Road studio recording.
She was, yes. And it'll be. It's been. We recorded the music for Angel of Darkness in 2002. So you're looking at 16 years on. It's been great to have Jill back, because she was such an amazing model. and she went down really well with the orchestra. You know, I mean, she presented a few sessions. You may have seen the photos online. You know, and they absolutely all kind of like just she really made the day. You know, so and I'm sure she'll make the day when we come to record it.
Well, you all will.
Angel Dogs, yeah. Dark Angel.
That's it. We've also had a lot of people asking about a live concert. I think that's very much a distant goal, isn't it?
It is, yeah, pretty much so. Yeah, it's definitely something that we would like to push in there, but obviously, I mean, you know, it's a big ask.
Yeah, we've got to get.
But our main focus is the album right now. Absolutely, yeah. There's got to be so many people before we can, you know, even consider.
So it'll be Kickstarter for the album, and if we get enough to really go over our target, then what can we expect maybe from a live concert?
The live concert will be. I don't want to put on a bog standard concert. I want it to be very special. You know, it'll be theatrical. There'll be a lot of effort and money going into kind of the visuals. You know,
stage dressing and lighting.
Absolutely, yeah. Obviously, the orchestra as well. We'll ensure we have a really good orchestra. To be confirmed. But everything will. You know, we don't want it. If we kind of reach our goal plus a bit more, you know, we've got to make sure we pass that goal quite substantially to be able to do what we want to do. I don't want to put on a kind of half a show. I want the show to be special and remembered.
If we manage to not just reach our funding goal, but also to absolutely smash it out of the park and put on a really big live show, how will fans be able to get tickets for that?
The tickets will be free. For pledges who pledge a certain amount. I mean, I think that's only kind of fair that people who invest in this project, you know, receive the experience that I would like to deliver.
Without having to pay extra on top.
Exactly, yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
But that might be a problem for us to say right now because we can't guarantee how much we're going to get because we first need to know how many people are pledging in total.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's something that we're not promising, but it's something that we're saying if we can do, we will do.
So, Peter, final thoughts. What are you really hoping people are going to get out of this Kickstarter?
I want the Tomb Raider community to enjoy this as much as I'm enjoying it. This to me isn't a job which I'm getting paid for. This is passion. I don't care if I make no money from this. It's just something I want to do. It's something I've been thinking about for a long time now, and I've also been approached by enough people to warrant this kind of experience to happen. So, you know, it's not about making money. It's about making something, giving something back.
Well, fans have certainly been remembering your music now for 20 years. Coming up to 20 years since you did the last Revelation.
It's overwhelming to think, that it's lived on, and it's still as big as what it's always been. So
people are still writing books, doing drawings, doing covers of your music, and all this other thing. So you're continuing to inspire people, and
I'm humbled by that. Fantastic. It's fantastic. I think it's as big as it was back then, and that people are still loving the franchise, regardless of how it's progressed, it still stands out from the crowd, and for that I'm forever grateful, so
absolutely.
Let's make this Dark Angel project happen,
Absolutely.
It's down to you.
Yes, so please, I'm really reluctant to say give us your money, but please support us and let's make this Kickstarter happen. So from me, Jenny Millward, and
Peter Connolly.
This is the Tomb Raider, the Dark Angel Symphony Kickstarter. Come and help us.
Studio session. Anyone attending the studio session? One.
That goes into the real show.
God, don't please. Don't do what you're thinking.